muchachos.
Now, Aaron, we're up to all that. I would hate to come back here for 10 years and have to read this again. It's all going. Well, thank you for that. Very warm. Thank you so much. And now you just got to move before we started taking that important movement, taking to your leader. This basically was number 3 in the New York Times bestseller. I learned that I was just so you know what? There you go. You got coach. This is my cognac. Say number 48. You got the BFA. Okay, we're gonna send you with it. You just wrote it. I can do that. Thank you so much. All right. So, very simple. Very simple old video. Yeah, BFA. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. It's great like an echo. Thank you for stopping by. All right. It is such an honor as brilliant as you are to help explain maybe the unexplainable. Well, yeah, I mean, if you're a scientist and you operate on the frontier, okay, half of what you're looking at doesn't have an explanation yet. Like, that's the whole thing. If you're research science community, you have 1 foot in what is known, right, ideally, and then 1 foot in what is both. You want to put both of that. Right. You don't want both of you to there is a float around. Okay. So 1 foot in what is known, that anchors your understanding. Okay. And then you tiptoe out there and see what's new to be discovered. So when news headlines say, well, scientists have to go back to the drawing board on this, we're always at the drawing board. Okay. It's a misconception that we sit here and go like that. That we get a mastery of the universe. No. So when someone says something the best left unexplained, when you hear that, what do you say? Said no scientist ever. In fact, if we see something that has no explanation, right, we're drawn to it. Right. It's the magic. You try to figure out, wow. That means that's so. There's a same thing with the German poet, Raymond Maria Rilke. There's a book called Letters to a Young Poet. I'm going to mangle it a little bit, and I get it mostly right. It says,
greetings, Cadaver City. Population, you losers.
And if you have questions, that means if you're a scientist, you want to figure out.
Just a few more, and I get a free cafe.
So you love to see the questions that are the product of research that you can research the plan and leave this beyond the wall that used to be there. Take me to your leader. Talk about this, that you're alien. I'm going to talk to you about that because for the longest time, you have this, what has been grown and what has been presented to us and what an alien is and what it looks like. Right? And so you're here to explain, offer us a better explanation of what actually aliens are. And are we going to do it or have we already met? I'm not authorized to No. So I tried to stay out of it, okay, for the longest time, just because it's too messy, okay? And what do I mean by the longest time? Over the decades, you heard these reports, flying saucers abductions, yes, and he was a farmer in the back 40 reporting this. He was a reveler after the bar, he let out. It was, there was plausible deniability of the sanity of who was giving the report, okay? Now, UFO enthusiasts were eager to gather as much of this information as they could. And even UFO enthusiasts...
Death came for you in new and unexpected ways.
And I'm looking up this time all the time. I know that the sun being so it interferes with my sky. So I'm going to know what's going on, coming and going, what it looks like, what it feels like, what it feels like. And I've never seen anything I couldn't explain. I could only explain getting sense about it. Yeah. It tells me that the most people without that sense about it, that would get reported to the police. Okay? And so, over the last maybe 8 years or so, let me put the marker where the New York Times reported on that crazy, that the naval officer, the naval, and you hear them comment, oh, what is that? It's fascinating, okay? And you can feel their excitement. Yeah. And there's a little bit of, I don't want to call it fear, but they don't know, right? They're in a state of unknown. So from now onward, more sort of official sounding people have come forward. Yeah. We're actually Italy, insiders, ex-military, intelligence agencies, and they're reporting in Congress sworn testimony that they got cracked alien bodies in the back shed, that they got cracked software hardware in the back,
He's about to get
that they got
fast into
reverse engineered science and technology from the earth. They're testifying to it. And so I said, all right, it's time for me to step up. I wanted to do another thing. I wanted to celebrate this fascination with the day. It's all my movie. You know, that part of the top 10 grossing movies of all time involve non-Earth-based creatures. But at the top of the list is, of course, what you see. It's not in the top 10, but that's another example. I'm a fan of the aliens, okay? And so we love us some aliens, in the culture. So I wanted to give a serious analysis of the powers of the technology of these aliens that have come out of our imagination, okay? And then ask, if actual aliens came to Earth, could they have these abilities, these technologies, and how smart would they be? You can give a serious analysis of that. So now, what do you conclude? Well, we're still in a situation where you have to ask the person, do you believe in aliens? Okay? Yes. And let me ask you this. Do you believe in elephants? Your answer would be, that's not even the right question. They just exist. Yes. Because you've seen them. I've seen them. In person. Correct. Okay. Yeah. Okay? But think of how that would go in testimony. There's only a couple dozen people who've ever seen an elephant. Yeah. And you gotta believe it. They got this big rubbery thing that's flexible. It can pick stuff up. It smells. It eats. With two teeth sticking out. That's shiny and it's got sheep-sized ears. And it's got legs the size of sheep ones. And can you draw one? And that's going to copy, right?
Not my fault you can't stop me.
You can make a strong documentary about that. Yeah. If only a few dozen people like that. People like that. But the documentary is heavily so. Yeah. If they just bring out the elephant. Yeah. 5 minutes to bring out the elephant and 5 minutes to the rolling press. And no one you believe in elephant. And the other thing is the only place to which you can have this basic conversation. Not if you're not with a people, it is really bad weather. Play with your child. I do better than that. There's a feature that's very fine. And each light has function copies on it. And it's safety. And it's really smart. And it's a open door. It's an open doorknob. And one driver of it has a chemical. And they can disappear. They gotta believe me. Another witness gives a slightly different account. I need you to draw it. And they draw this weird thing. And it's an octopus thing. So another witness, bring out the octopus. The Loch Ness Monster would be considered an alien. Because a few people have seen it, they seem to have photographs. There's one big fuzzy photograph. Fuzzy photograph. So normally, if we really wanted to know that bad, we just, is there any possible way we can drain? Not the drain, it's the drag away. Okay. Loch Ness, yes. Because Nessie is the name of the creature. Okay. Yeah, we drag the body. Yeah. Okay. If you think people would dump the bodies into the river. Yeah. So you could do this. They do it with sonar, this kind of thing. That's a different field for cryptozoology. Okay. These are people who are not looking for aliens, they're looking for species of life on Earth that have eluded the search of biologists. So they don't think that. Yes. Okay. And there's a type Bigfoot videos of Bigfoot. Yeah, there's this one famous video where this like, he's like turning the lips to the side. He's like, yeah, he's like, this photo's not a good. Hey, this photo's fine, what I do? But that film is 60 years old, right? And it's 60 years old.
Welcome to la fiesta de la muerte.
Anybody else have it? And back then, you had you could walk around with a camera, and we're old enough to remember, he said, Daddy, you know what I'm saying? What's the deal again? And what was that? Back in the phrase, that was the school photos, you got school photos, you got the school photos, and maybe the British. Yeah, that's it. Everybody's got a camera. So to have less evidence for Bigfoot, when we have more cameras, right, well, maybe they don't like the paparazzi. Okay. Bring it. Okay, so somewhere I think you find Bigfoot poop. Why wouldn't you? Yeah. Okay. Now you have to say, oh, they clean up after. Okay, wait. So where's Lady Bigfoot? Because it looks awfully mammalian to me. Yeah. Somebody's having sex somewhere in the woods. You'd be hearing that. Yeah. Okay. So it's easier to see that a microbe would go undiscovered, right? Or some smaller creature in some vast woods that no one had been before. And we are discovering species annually. In fact, one was you kind
Gonna be green lights from here on out.
An animal came actually. It's a species of leaping frog that's found only in India. Only recently, like the last 15 years, was described, right, sufficiently enough to the researchers were very kind and respectful of my education, my academic research. They seemed to know as well. And so, anyway, if people only have but it's the testimony that the such things you believe. If they come to hear of it, it's very hard to do it.
That's what running with the cool kids gets you.
First ever make your case that all these reports more this summer on the country. America's number one legacy on the line of the rebound, dunk, fantasy score. The NBA champion is proud to downloaded off the day, he's so Shannon. He gets that's Coach Shannon to get $50 in the lineup. Well, let me ask you this. What do they call you to play for meal? You want you to see this, kid. You got to swear the secrets. Nobody knows about this. But we told you what we've been telling you about. You have to buy it. Okay, and we want you to examine. And we want you to give us your best guess. Your best, your academia. Okay? What do you think? Okay, you know what I'd say? I would say, I'd love to see the body, but get it by a test. I'm asking you. I'm happy to look at this. This is a quick, this is an instrument, make all be done. That's how the thing is right there. I don't really care about it. So, here's the thing. How many other people know the secret? I would ask that question. Yeah. And give me any number. Okay? And what people will be claiming would be a big government cover-up. Yeah. 100, if not thousands. Yeah. You know, what people do. It was almost 1785, I think. 3 people. He remembered death. And so he's referring explicitly to juicy secrets. Yeah. Like, yeah. It was some juicy secret that was
Hell with one-on-one
time.
time.
Who cares? But always, it's Area 51, I'm thinking, it's wrong. This guy's sick. Take a picture of the man. will lose his job that morning, that next day, yes. It'll be the richest, most famous man ever lived. So where do these illusions come from? How did Hollywood come up with an illusion? Because if you think about it, they kind of all look the same. None of them ever have hair. They're all black. You answer that. I want to know if you guys combing his hair or afro drip. You know, give me that old small, you know, give me some body hair. Because all mammals have body hair and they're humanoid. Yeah. You know? So who, this is your definition. Who was the first person to come up with this theory that, and it's you know, a lot of people I think I heard you say that we're not alone, that there are others in the universe. No one's denying that. That's true. Well, damn, how do we know that? You've never seen it. No, see, that's true. But, all right, you've never really seen air either. No, but you're breathing it. Yeah. And its existence is not doubted by you. Okay. The other thing you know, like, if it's drugs and that's happening, you don't smell it, but your dog does. Yeah. So your senses are not the same. Okay. The question is this. You're saying, so the two fighters in the back, you know what makes the sound. How do you know that?
Not much better.
No, because you went out there. It would make, if I had a track recorder out there, I don't need your ears. Yeah, it would record the sound. Yeah. So seeing can be believing, but seeing can also be deceiving, and that's why we invented science. The method you chose is science, and the tools that make measurements right, and that's what they do. And why they do it? So that it doesn't pass through your sensory understanding of the world. Okay? And like I said, before we hit camera, it all has through your senses. I was abducted. I didn't told you that, or it came out under hypnosis, but your brain is participating in that story. We don't want that in science. So in other words, under duress, and we see, especially under duress, because there are scientists that say that sometimes under duress, you can see things that you don't actually see, or hear things you don't actually hear. Your visual and acoustic illusions. That's correct. And also depends on your expectation, what your culture is, what your, all of this factors in. I got one for you. Jesus on a tortilla. Okay? You know what never sees Jesus on a tortilla? Or Jewish people. Okay? I'm just saying, right? Okay? There's cultural expectations placed on your world that can influence your day-to-day. And I just want to say that while that can explain most, possibly all, but certainly most of the sightings, I'm happy to allow that small percent that could be actual aliens. Right. I'm not going to say no. You're not going to totally dismiss it. No, but I need better evidence. Right. And a colleague of mine was tasked, was it by Congress or by NASA, to get a group of people together to analyze the claims of alien sightings. Right. They were putting
Consider that, Mikey.
To get better data. So they're going to create an app where this kind of you get through that and it takes the picture with the smartphone. And it records all the metadata. What is the longest, your latitude on Earth, your elevation, your direction, your compass position, your rolling position. And then it's trying to solve the same phenomenon. To correlate the data and triangulate what the picture is, where it's going, where it's coming from. Very hard things to determine in for an object that you've never seen before. So in other words, everything's going to be okay. Anything that we see in today's world can be explained. No, I didn't say that. What I was saying is, the first is science. Depends. Exactly. There's always something that's not explained. Oh, that is what the movie is. That is the one thing the question themselves. I don't know what this is, but that's the here was your observations. We don't know what it is. Yeah. Get this app, which I think is still working with us. It's not available already. And get your data through this app. And then that can be correlated with other people's data to get more information to figure out what it is. Our human, the original alien, it looks like we are of the earth because we share the same DNA at some level with all other life on Earth. Really? Yeah. In fact, we and a banana share 20-25% identical genes. Humans and bananas. So if a banana comes and it doesn't have our DNA, or doesn't have DNA left, you'd expect it to look at least as different from humans as humans and bananas look from each other. Correct. You'd expect that. It's from another planet. On this planet, right. With humans. And so, here's a big one.
Welcome to la fiesta de la muerte.
The common ancestor. This is how evolution works. The common ancestor. Yeah. So we and Chris have a common ancestor. Split. Later, this common ancestor is gorilla. Which is later than its common ancestor with old world. There's a pair. It's all primate. Yeah. But there's a branch that don't have tails. A branch that does not. Okay. We're in the branch that does not have tails. It's apes. It's baboons. Chimpanzees, gorillas, humans. All right. Here's my point. For any two creatures on Earth, you go far enough and find the common ancestor. Okay. Do you realize the common ancestor between humans and monkeys? Later, then its common ancestor split with green plants, which means trees and mushrooms are more genetically alike than either we or mushrooms are to green plants. You had a $40 mushroom. When you bite into it, what do you describe it? You're messing my kids up. If you bite it, the meat out of it, said no one ever affair. Mushrooms love it. Yes. Yeast are rest of the fungus. Yeah. Fungus loves it. Yeah. Your dandruff is fungus. Yeah. The yeast is fungus. Mineral, the fungus. People reject mushrooms and conversations with mushrooms. So in other words, going back millions and millions of years,
The little things. Zero chance of survivors.
Yeah, but we think a mushroom very early.
Damn.
Oh, much earlier. Much earlier. Because there's a lot of things in the food. You have to even sit. Okay. Our vertebrate, because we have a spine, our vertebrate ancestry goes to the ocean and to fish. So what's the biggest cause of evolution? Because you say you split from fish and fish is still able to get water, they can breathe the water, so forth and so on. Yeah. Now we have to have the adaptability to be able to, we learn how to walk upright, we learn how to do all these other things. So how does evolution take place? How does that? It's a great question. A lot of people don't fully get this, okay? In evolution, no organism adapts to anything. What happens is, there's a generation of them, okay, that has slightly different features. Some a little longer, some a little shorter, some a little chubbier, some a little this, some a little that. And then there's an assault on the environment. Usually, everybody dies. Yes, the dinosaur. Unless there's a feature among one in this generation that can step through that new portal. So if they step through, everybody else dies. They have a property that enables them to thrive in that environment. So now they have offspring with that property in that new environment. Is that what happened when, because they say some organisms and some animals can reproduce without having a male partner? Yeah, so it's spermatogenesis. Yeah, that's an example. I think that's what you're referring to. I think roaches can do this, which helps make them so successful. Yes. Right? There's some animals where they don't have a mate, they can nonetheless generate the zygote. Yeah. And then, so I don't understand that process fully biologically. Okay, but we know what happens. Yeah, it's definitely a survival. Yeah, property. Yeah, and so you're more likely to propagate more.
Rest in pieces, asshole!
Because someone else got high and dry, couldn't find a name. Yeah, so it was wrong. So when you hear it's so long, it's so long, and I don't know if it's true, and you got me questioning about that, and whoever said it, that the greatest trick of survival is you got to do it. And you said no one to die. You just have to it's already there. You don't have to do that. Otherwise, everybody dies. There's a evolution of giant thing. 99% of all species there ever was, yeah, are now everyone says, nature is showing you every chance that you get. Okay? And if it's not from changing the environment, it's from tsunami, an earthquake, a volcano, a pestilence, plague, drought, yes. Mother Nature.
Grenade out!
To control population. More plague back. Okay. More people on Earth. You know the greatest monster responsible for human death? We're up there. We're up there. When you look very good.
Locked and loaded.
Yeah. And so more people than any other people. Yeah. Malaria, right? Among others. Where you got now you got BJ, now you got Philippines, Denver. Yeah. Yeah. More than anything else on Earth. That is our greatest threat. Yeah. Not anymore. This is pretty much control. Yeah. So, yeah. We're aligned in kind of making the air is making a change about evolution on Earth. This is what refers to for the diversity of Earth. I don't know on this planet how different everybody is. How are humans created? So how do we, so you say we branch off of the humans, like that you know now, branch off of a lot of different things. So the best evidence today that we were happy in the trees, like other planets. Yeah. And it's climate change. Yes. And the forest went away. Okay. We came down out of the trees. Now we're in the grass. What if you level your muscles in the grass? You can't see a forest. Yeah. Like the water. Yeah. You want to be able to look at the grass. Look at people that are in the Lion King, the meerkat. Yeah. Okay? Yeah. If you're low to the ground, you don't see somebody coming around the bend. Okay? So there was a survival advantage to walking upright instead of on all fours. If you couldn't walk upright for whatever your back hurt, then you got easy. You remove what you do. I walk up and I don't hurt. Okay? I have offspring where they can walk upright and they don't hurt. Right. Then there's a mutation to our vocal cords that enable us to articulate that. Okay, the other ones don't have that.
At least I'm not drinking alone.
That seems to be helpful. So now we can communicate. And now we can remember information. How do we do that? We learn information is stored better if it's written. In our definition of that. You remember some words that are better than others so they can use it.
Breathing, Cadaver City. Population, you losers.
That enables us to share survival knowledge with others. You said, running with your muscles, dragging the ground, you couldn't feel the light, you couldn't feel the power grab, you couldn't see over, and then predators. But didn't it give you the ability to be able to hear, to be able to smell? Because some animals that can't see beyond, they can hear everywhere. They can have those incredible sense of smell. The smell wasn't in our ears. It wasn't. If it was, then we would have smelled it all, way a dog. Okay? Dogs never walked on all fours. So they have a way better capacity to smell than we do. Put them in the grass. They're going to smell your ass. Yeah, so our pets have a relatively good vision. Yes. All right, with binocular vision, so yeah. But not like the other animals. We at the bottom of the toilet. Like, well, Well, no, it's not that. No, see what they are. They can echolocate. Yeah. Mice are very bad vision. The funny animals have terrible vision. You have a mouse in the middle of the forest, it's going to run until it hits a wall, it's going to run along the wall. Yeah. Feeling the wall. Yeah. Wherever it goes. It's going to navigate that way. Yeah. In the open floor, the mice is pretty helpless. Yeah. So in the genetic variation that existed for our primate ancestors, the
Spot me, bro.
proved to be good enough for that to be important, more than if you had some variation in your potential. So how long ago did we start to stand upright? Was it 1,000 years ago? Was it 100 years ago? I don't remember. I don't have that number. It's a known. Okay. I think it's a known, but it's a known. Okay. What is the latest? So that's just the millions ago we evolved and started. So has there been any other evolution that has instead been? Yeah. So the way that I just finished the full
Semtex
evolution
thrown.
statement. So what happens is, if some new feature shows up within this, if it's just a feature, then the feature it languishes okay? So they all right. You know, for example, we have eyebrows. Yeah. What the hell are they for? Yeah, what are they for? Okay. And you're running away from something and you don't check it out. It's just as and sweat is salty. You're not there, you're gone. Now we know after so the eyebrows, so whatever caused them, they had a survival of it.
Best way to stop a blade from spreading.
The mutations are limited. And so yeah. So every feature that's on the human body, it actually has a purpose. It gives it a survival advantage. What about the animal?
Come on, mi muchacho.
Why is your hair on your arm slowing down? You don't have hair coming up your back. Like you do in the Mediterranean. This is the weird thing about 19th century anthropologists. Okay. They're trying to put white people at the top and black people, they were saying, were still evolving. They were right next to apes. And they completely